So after a lengthy install of Exchange, it's time we did some configuration. In this case, we're going to enable anti-spam, and we're going to use a company called Spamhaus to provide a block list for us. So to do this, we need to head across to the new Microsoft Exchange server options, and we're going to launch the management shell. This is basically an updated version of PowerShell with extra commands for Exchange built in. So that'll take a minute or two to boot up. It has to connect the local server and get you up and going. So we'll just pause for a few seconds while it arrives. And there we've got our prompt. So the first command we're going to do allows us to run a script file that's provided by Microsoft to make things slightly easier to do. So let me type that one in and I'll be back with you in a second. So that's that one typed in, and I'll hit return on it, and I'm expecting to see several warnings pop up, but we're not going to worry too much about them. I'll explain that once this command completes. So things are starting to happen, as you can see, and it's installed a couple of utilities for us: the content filter, the sender ID, sender filter, recipient filter, and the protocol agent. And as you can see in yellow there, lots and lots of warning messages coming up, and the biggest one is the service needs to be restarted for the changes to take effect. So we'll issue the command for doing that next, and we'll get that service restarted. So we've got the command in, and we'll start it going. And what it should do is stop the service, and then it'll start the service again, which is what was required. So next command tells it that the internal SMTP server is by IP address there, which means anything that's coming from our internal server won't be checked for spam. It's added to the safe list there. So again, we'll hit return on that one, and that will add that IP address to the safe list. If you've got more than one server, which you should have, you repeat the command listing all the internal Exchange servers. So that's been done. The next thing we need to do is get it to set up all the filters that we enabled before. This is the command that is the longest of the lot, and it'll take me a second or two to type that one in. So I've enabled all the filter configs, and I've switched on all the tables and configurations required, and as you can see, they've all come up as true in the enabled column there. So we're up and going, and at that point we're on to a final command, which is to add the block list provider. And there's the command for that one. We're using spamhaus.org, and if you want to visit the website, it'll give you an explanation of what it does there. So again, we'll enable that one, and again, if we wanted to have more than one, we could repeat the command with other providers of block lists for us. So that's got us anti-spam enabled. It's just a quick exit, and we're back to our normal places.